All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to tackle a really crucial piece of building regulation for any new home in England, Approved Document M, Volume 1. So, what's it all about? Well, it's about making sure that new houses are actually built for everyone, right from day one.
So let me ask you something right off the bat. When you're designing or building a new home, are you just ticking boxes to meet the regs? Or are you really creating a space that's genuinely inclusive, a space that's ready for the future? Because let's be honest, accessibility is so much more than just a line on a checklist. It's really the heart of good, smart design.
Okay, so let's get down to brass tacks. Approved Document M, Volume 1. You can think of it as the official government playbook for accessibility. It lays out exactly how to meet the building regs for access in all new homes, and even in buildings that are getting a major overhaul. It's pretty much the rulebook we all have to play by. Now, to keep things straightforward, the document splits everything into 3 key categories. And trust me, understanding the difference between these is absolutely critical if you're in this industry. We're going to break down each one: visitable, accessible, and the one for wheelchair users. So here they are. The best way to think about it is like a ladder of accessibility. Step 1, M41, that's your ground floor. It's the mandatory baseline that applies to every single new dwelling. No exceptions. Then you've got M42 and M43. These are the higher rungs, and they're optional. Well, sort of. They usually get triggered by a local planning authority as a condition for getting your planning permission. So let's start at the bottom with the one that affects absolutely every new build. All right, Category 1. The big clue is right there in the name: visitable. The whole point here is to make sure a visitor, maybe a grandpa with a walker or a friend who uses a wheelchair, can actually get to your front door, come inside, and use the toilet without running into a massive barrier. Simple as that. And that visit, it doesn't just start at the doorstep. It starts on the path leading up to it. And this number, 900 millimeters, is key. That's the absolute minimum clear width you need. And it's not just some random number they've plucked out of the air. It's the baseline width that's needed to let most wheelchairs and, pushchairs get through comfortably. Okay, so this slide pulls all those pieces together. You've got that 900 mil path leading to the front door, which itself needs at least a 775 mil clear opening. Once you're inside, your visitor has to have step-free access to a WC and at least one habitable room, like the living room. And to top it off, all your switches and sockets are placed in a nice, reachable zone. It sounds simple, right? But it makes a world of difference. Okay, let's climb up to the next rung on the ladder. Category 2, M42. This is where things get a bit more serious. We're not just talking about visitors anymore. This is about the people who actually live in the house. It's all about designing with foresight, creating a home that can adapt as your needs change over a lifetime, without having to do a massive, expensive renovation down the line. And here's a perfect example of that step up. The first thing you'll notice, the doors get wider. That minimum clear opening for the main entrance jumps from 775 up to 850 mil. Now that little bit of extra space, it's not just a number on a plan. It's the difference between, say, scraping your knuckles in a wheelchair and just gliding through smoothly. Now here's a number that really tells a story about that future-proofing idea. 1.5 kilonewtons per square meter. So what on earth does that mean in the real world? It means the walls in the bathroom are built strong enough from the get-go to have grab rails screwed into them later. We're talking strong enough to easily support a person's full weight. You're literally building that strength right into the fabric of the house. So to quickly sum up Category 2, step-free access is now mandatory, not just where possible. You've got those beefed-up walls ready for future grab rails, and this is a big one. The main staircase has to be at least 850 mil wide. Why that specific number? It's so a standard stair lift can be fitted later on without any fuss. It's all about that forward thinking. And now we've reached the top of the ladder, Category 3, or M43. And honestly, this is a whole different ballgame. It's a completely different mindset. You're not just thinking about adapting a standard house anymore. You are designing a home from the ground up specifically for a full-time wheelchair user to live in with comfort, dignity, and independence. If there's one single rule that defines Category 3, it's this: space is king. Forget about just squeezing by minimums. At this level, every single design decision is about providing generous, truly functional space so a wheelchair user can move around their own home easily and without a struggle. And you see that principle in action right away when you look at the corridors. In Category 2, you need 900 mil, but in Category 3, It jumps to at least 1050 mil for a straight-on approach and a whopping 1200 mil if you're not coming at it head-on. That is a massive jump in usable space. And now, for maybe the most critical dimension in this whole document, 1500 millimeters, 1.5 meters. That is the magic number. It's the diameter of the turning circle that allows a wheelchair user to do a full 360-degree turn on the spot. No more frustrating three-point turns just to get around a corner. And just look at where that 1500 mil turning circle has to be. We're talking key areas like hallways, entranceways, even in the private outdoor space. But it doesn't stop there. You also have to design in a dedicated, structurally sound space for a future through-floor lift. That's mandatory. Kitchens have to be designed so worktops can be made height-adjustable. And the kicker? You have to prove all of this to the building control body with detailed furnished plans. There's no winging it here.
Just a quick but really important point on Category 3. The planning condition will tell you whether the home needs to be wheelchair adaptable or wheelchair accessible. So what's the difference? Adaptable means all the space and structural prep work is done, ready for an easy conversion. Accessible means it's all there and ready to go from day one. The lift is in, the worktops are adjustable, the whole shebang.
Okay, so let's just pull all that together for a second. This table is a fantastic at-a-glance summary of that journey, from M41 all the way up to M43. You can see how the goal shifts from just letting a visitor in to making a home adaptable, all the way to full-time wheelchair use. And you can see how those key dimensions, like door and corridor widths, just get bigger and bigger. And of course, the big difference in status, from mandatory for everyone to optional standards that get triggered by the planning process. So after all that technical detail, let's zoom out. Why does any of this really matter? Because, this is about so much more than just jumping through regulatory hoops. It's about looking at our society, seeing how it's changing, and understanding the incredible value of truly inclusive design. And here's the bottom line. Building to these standards just creates better homes. It's that simple. They're more inclusive, which is great for families with all sorts of different needs. They actually hold their value better because they're future-proof for an aging population. And honestly, they're just more thoughtful, more human places to live. It's not just compliance, it's just smart building. So I want to leave you with this final thought. Now that you've got this framework in your head, from the basic visitable standard right up to the wheelchair user gold standard, what's one thing you could do on your very next project to push the needle just a little bit further on accessibility? For more videos diving deep into the technical requirements of building regulations, visit the Building Regulations Copilot YouTube channel. And for any building regulations-related queries, head over to buildingregulationscopilot.com. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one.